In Pokemon Black and White, Game Freak introduced the concept of hidden abilities. Almost every Pokemon had a hidden ability, and the existence of hidden abilities was confirmed by game data. But what wasn't confirmed was when which Pokemon would get access to their hidden abilities. In Generation 5, generally speaking, hidden ability Pokemon could be found through breeding, the Dream World, which was a new feature in the Unova region games, or through hidden grottos. But not every Pokemon could obtain access to their hidden abilities yet. For example, you initially couldn't access Torchic's hidden ability Speed Boost, and in Generation 5 you could only get it later through a Japanese event. At the time, it was assumed that all hidden abilities known to exist would be released at some point. This led to the formation of the Dream World OU metagame on online simulators. Dream World OU was not actually playable on the cartridge because it used things that didn't exist yet, but it was still a relatively popular format and had all the hidden abilities. Pokemon would get them eventually was the idea. However, that would never come to be. Some of the assumed hidden abilities were never actually released, and some hidden abilities were even changed for Pokemon X and Y, the next Pokemon game in the series. Of those hidden abilities that were never released and eventually changed, Chandelure stands as the best Pokemon there never was because it would have been overpowered with its potential ability. And if you like my content, subscribe to the channel. It's free and helps out the channel a lot. Our goal is 100k by the end of the year, and every subscriber counts. Chandelure would have received the ability Shadow Tag in Generation 5, but it was never released. In Pokemon X and Y, Chandelure's hidden ability was changed to Infiltrator, and the rest is history. Shadow Tag is one of the most overpowered abilities in competitive Pokemon. Switching and team synergy is a fundamental part of the game, and by disrupting that, you can isolate and take down Pokemon. To illustrate how overpowered Shadow Tag is, just look at Gothitelle, Wobbuffet, and Mega Gengar. Gothitelle was one of the most dangerous Pokemon in standard play because it could trap and remove whatever it wanted with a variety of creative movesets. Most often, it could trap bulky Pokemon and beat them with Calm Mind, Rest, or even through PP Stall. This applies to all generations from 5 to 8. Similarly, Wobbuffet could trap and remove anything with Counter or Mirror Coat, and it could even lock you into a non-attacking move and turn you into fodder. Wobbuffet or Shadow Tag has been banned in every metagame it's been available in, except for Generation 2 when abilities didn't exist. Once Shadow Tag gets banned in a generation, both these Pokemon drop completely. Gothitelle is barely a PU Pokemon and Wobbuffet is unusable. That's how big of an effect Shadow Tag has. In Generation 6 and 7, Mega Gengar was easily banned from standard play, and it was an actual good Pokemon on its own, and it had Shadow Tag. But even in the Uber's tier of play, where all the other banned Pokemon exist, Gengar was almost overpowered there too. In both Generation 6 and Generation 7, Mega Gengar and Shadow Tag were almost banned from the tier of banned Pokemon. Mega Gengar is obviously a good Pokemon, but to be on the same level as Mega Rayquaza or Zacian is insane for a non-legendary and just goes to show how powerful Shadow Tag is as an ability. In fact, Shadow Tag is banned in Generation 8 Ubers too, even without Mega Gengar, because Gothitelle strategies were too strong in Generation 8. Chandelure, like Gothitelle, would have similarly been overpowered. Chandelure could trap Pokemon with Choice Scarf sets or try and use trap Pokemon as fodder with Calm Mind. You would have basically have to have used Shed Shell on important Pokemon, or else you would have get trapped and KO'd. Of course, with Shadow Tag getting banned in every format, Shadow Tag wouldn't have had a practical use on Chandelure because it would just get banned quickly, but Shadow Tag Chandelure would have been one of the top Pokemon for the time period it would be allowed in. There are other Pokemon with hidden abilities that were not released at the time. One example is Contrary Serperior. The Snivy line was known to have Contrary as a hidden ability, but it was never released in Generation 5. In Generation 5, Serperior was condemned to the lower tier of NU where it had to use Calm Mind movesets. However, it did eventually get Contrary in Generation 6, and it shot all the way up to the OU tier with its Contrary Leaf Storm. If Serperior had gotten Contrary in Generation 5, it would have been a true menace. Serperior's Leaf Storm is deadly versus the water types of Rain and rock and ground types of Sand. Weather was a popular strategy in Generation 5 because weather was permanent back then, and Serperior would have dominated the game. It naturally outspeeds threats like Keldeo and Latios, and can use hidden powers like Ice, Fire, or Ground for flying types, Ferrothorn, and Heatran respectively. Substitute plus Leech Seed even beats Blissey. The main counter would probably be something like Amoonguss. Zapdos had Lightning Rod as a hidden ability before it was later changed to Static. Static in Generation 8 is currently a common ability on Zapdos and used to punish physical attackers like Rapid Strike or Shifu. But still, immunities are valuable in Pokemon. In particular, being immune to electric is very important because otherwise you can lose to the Volt Switch plus U-turn combo. In fact, having a ground type is almost mandatory on teams because of Volt Switch. Lightning Rod Zapdos would be very interesting as an electric immune Pokemon. It's not clear if it would be better than Static, but it's definitely a close fight. Most teams manage to fit a ground type anyway because Stealth Rock is basically mandatory and most ground types are good Stealth Rock users, but having that flexibility is nice to have. Let me know down in the comments below which you think is better, Static Zapdos or Lightning Rod. The legendary dogs Raikou, Entei, and Suicune all had hidden abilities that gave them immunities. Raikou got Volt Absorb, Entei got Flash Fire, and Suicune got Water Absorb. However, all these abilities were changed to Inner Focus instead. As mentioned earlier, immunities are incredibly valuable because at the very least you can punish choice-locked attackers, and they would have definitely been staples on Raikou and Entei. Raikou and Entei don't usually benefit much from pressure anyway. Entei does have some substitute Calm Mind movesets that can try and PP stall, so that is something worth noting, but it's not a major part of its kit. Suicune on the other hand is one of the rare Pokemon that would actually benefit from pressure instead of Water Absorb. Suicune doesn't care too much about being immune to water, and pressure with Calm Mind lets Suicune try and beat grass and electric type Pokemon. For example, Giga Drain and Leaf Storm only have 8 PP, so Suicune can actually try and use pressure and moves like Substitute or Protect to win versus grass types. Heatran got Flame Body as a hidden ability, but that was only available in Generation 8. In Generation 8, Heatran sometimes uses Flame Body to spread burns, but overall Flash Fire is more consistent. It's unlikely that Flame Body would have made a big impact if it was available at the time. Emboar's hidden ability was Reckless, and just like Snivy's contrary, it wasn't released in Generation 5. Emboar has a lot of moves that benefit from Reckless, like Flare Blitz and Wild Charge, but it was mainly just a cool addition rather than anything game-changing. Emboar was an RU Pokemon in Generation 5, and after getting Reckless in Generation 6, it was still an RU Pokemon, which meant that Reckless was enough to keep Emboar from falling down further with the introduction of more Pokemon. Feraligator's hidden ability was Sheer Force, and as you might guess, it was only released in Generation 6. Feraligator uses Sheer Force Life Orb to turn into a devastating sweeper because Sheer Force affects its common attacking moves like Waterfall, Ice Punch, and Crunch. Sheer Force in Generation 6 turned Feraligator from an NU Pokemon to a UU Pokemon. In Generation 5, without Sheer Force, Feraligator was an RU Pokemon. With Sheer Force, it would definitely move up to UU and maybe even an OU. Feraligator with Sheer Force can be compared to Gyarados. Gyarados has Moxie and a better typing, but Feraligator has more power. Neither is better than the other, and it mainly depends on what your team prefers. There are other hidden abilities that were known to exist in Generation 5 but never released, but they were mainly inconsequential like Leaf Guard Meganium. Overall, hidden abilities in Generation 5 are some of the big what-ifs for the generation. If certain unreleased hidden abilities were released, what effect would they have on Generation 5? And if certain hidden abilities were not changed, what effect would they have on future generations? Let me know what you think down in the comments below.